So I've got an amplifier kit. It's got some speakers in it, and it's got nice acrylic laser cut cases for it, but it's got some surface mount on it, so I've got to put these surface mount chips on here. So I just thought I'd spend a couple of minutes trying to do that. As there's two, one for each speaker set, I don't know whether to try one using hot air and try the other one using the soldering iron. Not sure. I think I'm going to do that. So I'm going to solder it on with the soldering iron and then try and use the hot air to encourage it a bit more. So I think let's start by putting some flux on there. That's where I'm going to go. I might do both of these with the hot air, to be honest. Well, that's got some flux. I was going to try and use that one, but I'll use liquid flux for it. Let's just see. I'll warm this up. Let's just see how well the board takes solder to begin with. And then if that works, if I get the solder on there, I will attempt to hot air these chips on, I think. I'm not sure whether I can zoom in any more than this. If I do, I'll probably lose the quality a little bit, but maybe if I leave it at that, I'll go down to a lesser resolution, but so be it. Let's make sure my tip is tinned. There we go. And looks a bit manky anyway, so I'll clean it. Oops. Ugh, now everything looks manky. One moment, please. Well, that was ironic. I've just spent a couple of hours putting myself a new paper backdrop on here. I don't even know if this is in focus. I hope it will stay in focus. Yeah, so now I've just tipped old solder all over it. Oh well. Okay, so I was just waiting for my iron to heat up, and I just was attempting to clean the tip. Have another go. That's much better. Although it is fading quite quickly, this tip, for some reason. And let's prevent myself copying. Let's do that. So I'm just going to tin all these pads. Okay, there's something unpleasant in this solder. I think I've got some solder with some nasty resin in here. Not sure what's going on with that, but okay. So I'm going to just clean this a little bit. Okay, and now try and use that solder that's on there. I'll put some of my nicer flux on, and I've just technically cleaned this up, but I'll put decent flux on. Wobble wobble. I'm really not shaking as much as that. It's just putting pressure on it. Okay, so let's try and hot air this then. So assuming I can get it on correctly, let's put the hot air blower on. Okay, that appears to have worked. I'm just going to get a real close-up of it. Not on the camera, I'm afraid. Yeah, that one looks okay. And that one looks okay. So yeah, so that's using hot air to do a surface mount. Okay, so here is the finished article with my speakers that I've made, soldering their little surface mount on the back. It was quite fiddly to get the acrylic to connect up, but they look quite cool. I think they look quite nice. So what do I have to do? So I've got the USB lead, and I plugged that into a power supply, and then I've plugged it into my iPad. Now for the iPad, as this the input for this is the input for this is for these speakers are just a stereo jack. I've got for the iPad this little splitter that does a headphone jack and a microphone, and I'm just using the headphone portion. All right, so let's try it. So I've got one of my videos. Let's try that. What would be a good idea would be to design a little... Okay, so that works. That adds a little bit of bass to the sound that comes from the iPad. Let me just turn the lights off for a second, and you just watch the little view meters at the back. For this. And why not set a challenge that participants don't even know that they're racing in. Let's challenge. Okay, so I'm really pleased with that. Nice little kit, and in these days of social isolation, they also make great speakers to make your Zoom video conferencing a little bit more clear, as long as you've got the microphone plugged in as well. So yeah, quite a nice little speaker kit, and I'm using it already to boost the sound of my conferences and my chats with family and friends.